as a platform to help young broadcast journalism students understand exactly what they're studying and to help them excel in their studies. My name is Antoinette and I am a communications student, and I'm willing to share my broadcast experience with you to help you grow. Now, I'm well aware that majority of people watching this video aren't communication students, so just hold on to your socks, guys, because today I promise it's going to be exciting. Now, don't forget that you can drop troubling questions in the comment section, and if you're looking forward to much more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Today on Need My Factor, I will be teaching you about citizen journalism. Ooh, I could basically feel the cringing from every single journalism student right now, because you're like, why go to school to study journalism when you could just wing it? Well, it's not that simple. Communication students would have noticed that most of our lecturers, they're not really fans of citizen journalists, because they believe that for you to become a certified journalist, you have to go through years of training, attend lectures and seminars, boring or not, read books and more books, do presentations, write research papers, write tests, pub quizzes, and the rest. And they're probably right. But what happens when something drastic happens and there are no journalists on scene to cover the event? What's going to happen then? Well, I will explain more of this, but before we move any further, let's define what citizen journalism is.
Citizen journalism is a form of journalism where the general public plays an active role in the collecting and reporting of information, otherwise known as news.
You need to understand that no news organization has the ability to be everywhere at the same time, and that is a fact. Now let's picture this scene together. In a random church service, a man stands up and lashes out at his wife and starts beating her. The reasons for this is unknown. Now trust me, this story is basically newsworthy because it is odd. Like, when does a man just stands up and starts hitting his wife in front of everybody in church? But there is a huge possibility, very huge possibility by the way, that there was no journalist present in that church and at that moment. Like, who gets to report the story? Now, aside from oddity, this man in question could be someone that is very prominent in the society. We can't let that story slide now, can we? The stories have to be told no matter what. Now, the only way that story is going viral is if a random citizen pulls out their phone and then makes a video. This citizen could either upload the video on social media or write a story narrating their experience in the church that day. Now, this story is definitely going to explode all over social media. But note that it wasn't put there by a certified journalist, and that's where we have citizen journalism. Now, communication scholars usually argue that citizen journalism should not be allowed using the example that as a medical doctor, you can't be known as a medical doctor if you haven't got to med school and then you're certified to be a medical doctor. In the same vein, they say you can't be a lawyer if you haven't gone to law school. But why is journalism so different? Many people could have different answers to that question. If you want to share your answer, you can drop it in the comment section. But as for me, I would say that the need for information has grown so much over the years that it can now be likened to the craving of food. And scholars would also agree that since citizen journalists don't easily have access to radio, television, and the print media, the social media is usually their hub for sourcing and reposting this information. That's how they practice their journalism. Now, the invention of smartphones helped in the growth spurt of citizen journalism. Now, everybody wants to be the one who gets to uncover a trend that will go viral. The competition for creating a viral trend has caused several citizen journalists to create fake stories, thus making the popularity or increasing the popularity of the term fake news. Now, creating stories out of the blue seems a whole lot easier for citizen journalists because they're not bound by ethics like the actual journalists. And aside from that, scholars would argue that practicing citizen journalism is dangerous because they have little or no gatekeepers. They post news stories that people would eat up and would enable them have a wider reach without actually thinking about the consequences. Now, a professional reporter would know that the manner in which some stories are reported could cause a panic. So they would either completely kill the story or report it in such a way that people would not have fear and all that. But the citizen journalists sometimes post the stories unfiltered. Unfortunately, when it backfires, the entire media is blamed for everything, causing more rifts between the professional journalist and the citizen journalist. Now, naturally, one would take the side of the citizen journalist because you would believe they're doing everyone a huge service by keeping it as real as they can. That's probably true, but you should remember that not everybody is as mature as you are, and in order for us to avoid unnecessary chaos, stories have to be checked and reported wisely, which is why I would advise that there should be a collaboration between the citizen journalists and the professional journalists. I mean, they should be respected in their own lane. I mean, after all, we all tell stories. If you have been developing an interest in being a citizen journalist, I have some tips that may be of help to you.
Learn from professionals.
Watching the news would help you develop your presentation and your presentation style on camera, and it will also help you appear and sound more professional. I mean, it's the best way for you to learn how to be a citizen journalist is to learn from the people who do it every day.
Collaboration.
Work with them. Do not claim to be better. This is not a competition on which form of journalism is the best. There is nothing wrong if you work with the professionals. Besides, your story would get into other forms of the media aside from the internet.
Take a crash course.
This is the most important of all the tips. You have to have a fair idea of what you're getting yourself into. So the crash course will help you build your sense of judgment as a journalist, tell you what is news, and will also make sure that your source is very, very credible. Sadly, this is where we wrap up today's edition of the Mic Factor. I hope you've learned a lot. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't. You can also share the link to this channel, the Mic Factor, to your friends so that they can learn as well. But before the next lesson, I promise I will post a different video initiating a conversation, or should I say an interactive session with you, where you get to find out more about me if you want to. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun that day. Like, it's gonna be really mad fun. So stay safe, guys.